who would be watching the recording to miss out on this. And assalamu alaikum to all those who would be watching the recording later on. So, how are you guys feeling about AS level? Sir, theory से थोड़ा डर लग रहा है, डर का माहौल है, scared. New journey with the God. Thank you, Moez. Sir, डर लग रहा है. Oh, हो easy scene है, easy scene है. इतने मजे का होगा ना. I'm gonna make it so easy for you all, inshallah. And we're gonna do so much practice, inshallah. The people who are scared from theory, man, chill, see, now I'm gonna make you guys sort of do so much practice, inshallah. And that's the reason keeping it 8 months. We won't be like, okay, yaar, jaldi bhago, ya bachcho ko bole, yaar, aap khud karo, we aren't caring for you. Nah, man, it's my job. You guys come to me, I'm gonna make you get those A's in your AS level, inshallah. So yeah, so कोई नहीं, इवन इफ यू आर कॉम्पोजिट उसके ऊपर भी हम देखेंगे क्या सीन है, किस तरीके से करना है. दैट इज इनपुट ऑफ हाउ सब कुछ हो जाएगा. श्रेयान, डोंट वरी, ओके, डोंट वरी. You're going to have it all the way from the basics. So if anybody has never studied computer science before, you are good to go. If you're someone who is expecting a distinction in computer science, you're still good to go. Okay, so it's 8 or 4 p.m. I feel like let's jump into the course content. The recording has started. So the way we're going to be proceeding with it is I'm going to be turning off the chat box. Okay, we're going to be turning off the chat box, and afterwards whenever you guys have a question or something, so after set intervals, I'm going to be reopening up the chat box, giving every single one of you the opportunity to ask questions. And the biggest reason for this is that I don't want the message place to be spammed up, because useless messages are there and people do not focus, which I don't want, right? So first and foremost thing, welcome batch of 2027. So we have officially waited enough for your fellow friends to join in. If you guys want anybody else to join in, they can just literally come in as soon as possible. But if not, we can jump into the course content for today. So I have these two beautiful kittens for you as a welcoming, sir. VIP protocol airport पे आप लोग जाते हो ना, वो जो बड़े-बड़े होते हैं, आपको बोर्ड पकड़ा होता है. Welcome to Thailand, sir. Welcome. Same to same. These two kittens are here saying, welcome to the AS level batch. So, welcome batch of 2027. Just to clarify, this AS level session will be one-time session starting from July all the way till March of 2027, inshallah. We're going to cover everything in super duper great detail, inshallah. Absolutely from the basics, as if you have never ever studied computer science ever in your life before, you are still 100% good to go in comparison to a kid who has studied computer science in their O levels. Okay, so all the questions would be taken afterwards. For now, let's just start off, and inshallah sabki questions अच्छे से address हो जाएंगे. I'm going to keep 10 to 15 minutes at the end. Okay, so first and foremost thing, welcome abroad. Welcome abroad. So I always do this, and I love this thing with my students. Sushandeep to our AS level session. First and foremost thing before jumping into the syllabus would be that I should be introducing myself. For all those who might know me, good to see, but for those who might not know me, I am Muhammad Maaz Munir. I'm a rising sophomore at LUMS. A rising sophomore basically means a student who just completed his first year, and I'm going to be starting my second year, inshallah ta'ala, in September. My major is computer science, and I'm planning on doing a minor in quantum computing. What's quantum computing? Simple alfaz, quantum computing is what AI was maybe 15 years ago. Okay, so something like a futuristic CS field, you may assume. Okay, I had 7 A stars, 1 A in my O levels. I had straight A's in my A levels. I had a top in Pakistan distinction in my IGCSE computer science. And yeah, this is my picture, drinking coffee while on a plane. Yeah, so if you haven't seen me, यहाँ भी देख लो, वहाँ भी देख लो, एक ही बात, सही है. So I started learning programming back in grade 6. Here are a few certifications I did. I did Python programming from University of Pennsylvania. I then did course from University of Michigan, and these two courses eventually alongside the practice I've been doing, and also at this point in university have I also learned C++, C, and all those computer fundamentals. I have came to a stage where I have been through this entire journey of breaking computer science into smaller chunks, making it as easy for you all as possible. I got a distinction back in 2023. So don't count me as a Buddha Baba teaching computer science. Okay, I'm just 19 years old. I will be becoming 20 inshallah this September. So I'm just a year too older than you, Gen Z. You easy Sina. It's gonna be a chill session, and so what we are up here trying to create is a model that allows not only you all to learn computer science for the purpose of acing it in your A level examinations, but I want to teach you all computer science in a way where you understand कि यार ये चीज क्यों हो रही है and how is it happening. So we're also going to be learning the why and the how part behind everything, so that the next time you hear something in theory, all of the people who are scared from theory, it's not because theory is difficult. The reason is you were never taught the story behind why that thing happens. So maybe your teacher might have came up in O-level saying, okay, you have to do this thing. And you were forced to memorize it because, okay, it happens this way. But in our classes, we're going to be learning, why does it happen that way? And we're going to discuss this from a level where if you haven't studied computer science ever before, you're going to relearn everything as if you were currently in an O-level class. Okay, so don't worry at all. A lot of you would definitely be aware of my Code Catalyst Instagram handle. If you don't know about it, you can check it out on our on Instagram. We also run a YouTube channel, Code Catalyst. A lot of you most probably would have taken the live sessions we have been conducting over the last few months. It was low-key one of a very crazy tenure, काफी मजा आया था. And a lot of you might have this one thing in your mind. सर हमें नहीं पता आप कैसे पढ़ाते हैं, क्या हिसाब है, सर कोई फीडबैक वगैरह नहीं देते या कोई इस तरह का सीन. So for all those students, I've also placed this one picture that if you go to my Instagram handle, in the highlights there is a whole highlight on the name of feedback, which has like hundreds of students giving me their feedback before the exam, after taking our classes, after watching our videos, taking those marathons, and of course after giving the exams. So those would be more than enough inshallah for you all to understand how we're going to take the sessions, and this time it's going to be even way more better inshallah ta'ala. So we have helped hundreds of students through our content, and right now I'm going to be first and foremost introducing you all to what are the aspects or the features of joining our session. So like you might be wondering, okay yaar sir matlab aap sirf hum live padhenge, but it's not only studying from me. Studying with Code Catalyst means that you're going to have access to 4 main things. So upon registering, you're going to get these 4 features. What are these 4? First and foremost thing, of course, we're going to have the live classes. The live classes will be conducted on Google Meet the way we are doing it right now, but the link would be then shared, changed afterwards for the students who have been registered with us. Secondly, you would be provided 2 portals. The first one is going to be the Google Classroom, which I personally love using and is like literally very easy for the students. And the second one is again conceptuals portal. So you're going to be given 2 accesses to portals. So in case one of the portals, God forbid, sometimes have traffic or like gets filled up, it's not like you're prevented from joining the or watching the recordings or taking out accessing those resources which we are providing to you all. Okay, so we're going to give you guys access to 2 portals, the Google Classroom, the conceptuals portal, and on these portals you're going to be given access to 4 things. So the first one is going to be recording. So all the sessions which are going to be conducted will be live and also at the same time recorded. So the recordings would be available the next day or like by midnight of the same day. So if this session is done at 8, the recording would be available by midnight, inshallah. All the questions will be at the end, Emil. Okay, so I'm going to address the question at the end, easy. So yeah. Then secondly, the students who register with us, they're going to get all the digital notes, the stuff which we're using, which we're going to be explaining it up, the stuff using which we're going to be simplifying the stuff, everything, the notes. I don't want you guys to make notes while taking the class. Okay, I'm a big anti against this because I'm someone who did OA levels himself. I know that while you are taking a class, a lot of students have this habit taking notes alongside. But uska ek masla hai. The problem with taking notes alongside the class is that you go and write down everything, especially for a theory paper, where you're going to be jotting down the points and then you missed upon what's happening in the class, which I don't want for you all. So I'm going to be providing you the notes immediately after the class, inshallah. They're going to be updated regularly. And so over the weekend, whenever you get free time in the week, because in A levels, you're not going to be having 8 subjects or 5 subjects. The max you might be having is like 3, 4, or if you're someone low-key goated, then 5. Or maybe 6 too. I do have a few friends at LUMS who had 6 subjects. Crazy people. But yeah, so you're going to take out time over the weekdays and then you're going to open up the notes. You're going to jot those points on your notebook. You're going to understand कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या नहीं हो रहा. If there is something you don't understand, the recordings will be provided for you all. You can rewatch those. If there is something still not clear, you can always reach out to me. But this is not the only thing which you'll be getting, right? If you register with us, we want to ensure that every single kid out there ends up saying कि sir, आपने हमें इतनी practice कराई थी कि I opened up the past paper for the first time and I low-key cooked it on my first attempt, inshallah. It's not like your O-level classes. It's not like your IGCSE classes. It's now AS level computer science. So we're going to have lots and lots of past paper question answer sessions where I'm going to be making you solve questions, where you guys would be solving questions, where we have one other person which will be coming right now and next would be solving questions. And that eventually would ensure that you guys are fully prepared for your exams. And of course, alongside all this, you all would be given important documents. So what do we mean by important documents? So like for the students who were part of our O-level sessions, if you remember, we provided you with documents like example candidate responses. We provided with you documents with syllabus, notes, common diagrams, and all those stuff, right? So like those things which help you aid your preparation for your exams, we call those documents as important documents. So we're going to have a proper section on our portal for important documents where all such things will be provided. And of course, once done with all that, you might be saying, yes sir, kafi hai, I feel like ho jayega. But no, guess what? We were like, okay, why not ensure that the kid gets some more practice? So ye to hoti rehti hai jitni ye practice hai, let's make it even way more better. And that was when we decided, just give me a second, let me connect the charger. But yeah, that was the moment when we decided to bring up something no one has done before. And that is TA support. So you're going to have your very own TA, which alongside me would be always available for help for all the classes, for any question, for any problem. And it's not like मैं ये TA इसलिए ला रहा हूँ कि I would be like आपने मुझे message नहीं करना. नहीं, you are always required to message me. But of course, alongside me, you have another smart boy available, Ayan. We're going to introduce him to you all in the group, inshallah, who will be then conducting weekly practice classes. So if I'm going to be taking 3 or 4 classes per week, every week there's going to be one class conducted by Ayan, 45 minutes to 1 hour, where he will be solving exam style practice questions of whatever we studied the last week. So like in 1 week, if let's say we studied conversions, the first weekend, you're going to see that Ayan is going to take a class where he's going to fetch out questions from actual exam papers and make you all solve that. So khud socho. Isn't it like you're learning concept, and within that same week you're learning ki yaar uske questions kaise aa sake, and then at the same time you're learning ki, okay, how are we going to even solve them? So it's like a whole bundle of learning from the in great detail, absolute from basics, and then doing great amount of practice questions first with the TA, and then of course a worksheet would be provided every week for you all to practice on your own too. And of course, with all this, definitely you all will be facing problems. AS level will be challenging. There will be questions, there will be scenarios you don't understand anything, and that is where we come up with WhatsApp. With this number is my very own private number. Any student who registers with us, I'm going to save your contact as AS level student, and then once I have your contact saved, it's my top priority that the moment you send me a message, I'm going to respond to you as soon as possible. So I'm not like those teachers who would be like keeping you on a 1 or 2 days delay. The people who have been studying from me, they know that while you are in a course with me, it's my top priority to reply to you, even if it's 4 a.m., 3 a.m. and I have the phone with me. I always try my best to respond to the students as quickly as possible, right? And now if you're interested in registering for our classes after taking these sessions, we have the TA Ma'am Naiba's number up here. Ma'am Naiba is basically going to be dealing out with all these affairs in regards to registration and all that stuff. So I don't know why it was being a bit highlighted as, right? So I'm going to rewrite the number. It's +92 318 177 2015. So all fees related affair, all affairs related to registration, portals, and all that stuff will be dealt by Miss Naiba. You can just text her. She can guide you कि यहाँ कोई discount है if you go for multiple subjects or anything like that, inshallah. Okay, so you can just contact Miss Naiba and she can provide you everything in regards to registration. And if there is any course related query, any A levels related theory, any university application related theory, because I know that you have stepped into A levels, SATs, and wo cheeze bhi hongi. And just as a fun fact, I am currently studying at LUMS, but for the people who might not know, I had full rides abroad. I had 2 to 3 full rides in Hong Kong. I had a full tuition in the US. I had partial scholarships in Turkey, Germany, and also one full scholarship in Hong Kong, 2 full rides. But then, of course, लंबी कहानी किसी और दिन डिस्कस करेंगे why I didn't go with it and क्या हिसाब बन गया था. But yeah, so you know that these classes won't be only CS. They're going to be sessions, small minute chunks, helping you guys understand how to and when to give SAT, how to improve your extracurriculars, what things to jump into so that you have that crazy common app profile when applying in the US, how to ensure that your UCAS essay or personal statement is on top. So it's not like AS only. I'm your elder brother who's going to train you for university applications too. Okay, so conceptuals is up here to ensure that आपके हर तरफ से gain हो रहा हो knowledge, not only the subject but eventually everything which is out there. Now the way we're going to carry out this entire course is that the first and foremost thing would be that we're going to have lecture contents being covered up every week. So the classes are going to be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday primarily, and then every Monday, we are going to have a class every 2 weeks, or when a class is being cancelled for some reason, because definitely it's a weekend. We usually never cancel classes, but of course there can be a possibility if God forbids a class gets cancelled out. You should know that our slots for classes are going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 4 classes in me. Usually we're going to have 3 classes, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And whenever we end up with a topic or something jab mein practice aapko karana chaho, ya phir there is a rescheduled class or anything in order to ensure that you get that extra mile of practice, we're going to have a class on Monday. So it's going to be 3 primarily classes with me, or maybe 4 whenever we have to do practice. The details whenever we have a Monday class would be shared way beforehand. So ye to koi masle ki baat nahi hai. The class timings are going to stay the same, inshallah, 8 to 9:15 p.m. Pakistani Standard Time, which even we started off the class with today. All the classes will be recorded and for every class which we end, for every topic, like if we have, I'm going to go through the syllabus soon, inshallah, but for every chapter which we end, we are, inshallah ta'ala, going to be conducting revision classes, something we have never done before. So we used to be like, okay, topic covered, next topic. But this time, it's a longer session. It's a session where we ensure that there is even no small amount of question coming in your mind. Itna sab kuch clarify hona chahiye. So once we cover up the topic, we do those practice sessions, we do those stuff and all that thingies, we're going to have a revision class for you also, that you understand, okay, isme ye ho raha tha, so that if you forget something, yeah, maybe you want a quick revision at some point, you're not like, okay, I'm cooked. Why isn't the charger being connected? Yeah, charger might be like, hame connecting you. Crazy. But never mind, yeah, connected. But never mind, we're going to have such lecture contents, we're going to have such live classes regularly. And of course, after every live class, once we are done with a specific section of questions and content, we're going to jump into past paper practice. So we're going to have one live class every week, which would be conducted by me once we are done with the topic. So yeah, then once we are done with the topic, sometimes there might be possibility कि कोई recorded videos मेरे पास extra, some extra practice questions which might have been solved by me. So I'm going to also share those on the classroom portal, right? And then of course, alongside my lectures, alongside my past paper practice, you're going to get weekly TA practice, 1 hour class every week to ensure that whatever we study, uske practice. And then of course, after every topic ends, we're going to have assignment or a quiz. Now, this assignment or a quiz is not like the normal O-level wale ya grade 6, grade 7 wale quiz. The purpose of conducting these assignments or quizzes are that when you come to A-level computer science, the examiner is very strict with the keywords and with the way you write answers. Okay, so it's not like O-level pe you guys were writing some random stuff and you were like, sir, koi sense to ban rahi hai na, sahi hai. So usually it works in O-level. When you come to AS, the examiner is very rigid with how you might be even writing a small thing. So I always talk about this. If anybody of you might have taken my marathon sessions, I mentioned this earlier on too, that in exam, for those who have not studied CS, koi masle ki baat nahi hai, but there was one place where I was supposed to just put a single quotation mark, something like this. but I basically placed double quotation marks. And guess what? The examiner just gave me 0 out of like 3 marks, even though everything else was perfectly fine, just because of this difference in quotation marks, right? So the point here to note is that the examiner comes to be a bit more rigid when it comes to AS level. The course content is not that challenging. It's like the way you have to attempt the paper, that's really important. So once every topic ends, you're going to conduct these assignments or quizzes in order to ensure that you get regular feedback over whatever we have been teaching you, so that when you sit to give that paper on your exam day, inshallah, you write everything according to the way the marking scheme and the examiner expects from you. So uske paas koi chance hi na ho ki aapke mark ko detect kare. So this will be conducted for all the topics. It's going to be marked by TAs. You're going to get frequent feedback and you'll be very much good to go prepared. So like just imagine this thing being repeated for all the syllabus. Inshallah, if I had something like this back at my time, man, I would have been so happy. I'm teaching computer science just because of this one reason, that when I was taking computer science back in A levels, I did not have that sort of a good teacher, okay, who could have guided me the way I want to guide every single one of you, okay? So that's the reason I'm trying to bring it up in a way that I simplify everything to the absolute basics, easy alfaz mein samjhaunga, and I'm going to tell you how you need to cook that A star, inshallah, at the end, okay? So moving on, you would have definitely seen the A-level computer science syllabus, right? So even if you haven't seen, koi masle ki baat nahi hai. So the subject code for the A-level computer science is basically 9618. Now, before I see a lot of students coming up with this question, कि sir, मैं तो research कर रहा था या कर रही थी, and I found out that there is even a paper 9608. Do we need to go with 9608 or 9618? Now, 9608 was the syllabus before 2021, okay? So like the pre-2021 syllabus was 9608. Then Cambridge out of nowhere decided, ki yaar, I don't like this number 9608. Like let's change it up, okay? So like in 2021 ke baad, what they did was they came up with a new subject code 9618. So all the past papers, all the resources, all the documents which you might be viewing, because this A-level computer science is a course where if you guys want to do research on your own, it's highly encouraged. Sab apne se research kare, apne se resources dhoonde, try to discuss it with people. But whenever and wherever you're trying to do, only look for 9618 content, because that is relevant to your syllabus. Now, if I break the A-level computer science model, you're going to have 4 papers in the entire A-level program, A-level is first and foremost thing being divided into 2 sections. You have the AS A2 model, where you give some papers in the first year of your A-levels, which we call as AS, and you give the other papers in your A2, or which you sometimes people also refer to that as A-levels. Okay, A2 is also sometimes called as A-levels. So one way is you give the papers in a split manner, some in AS, some in A2. We're going to be just focusing upon the AS part of this course, where we're going to be just discussing the content which will be taught to you in the first year. The second phase, or the way which a lot of students might be doing, especially in Lahore, is where you give composites. What do we mean by composites? Composites ka matlab hai, give all of them ek saath. So like give all of the papers at once, all 4 of the papers ek hi go mein. But it's like first year mein nahi dete, you give the 4 papers at the end of the second year. Now, we will be only doing the AS part up here, but even if you're someone who is studying composite exams, don't worry. You can cover up AS level course with us, and then of course A2 level course वैसे भी बाद में ही होगा, तो वो आप बाद में किसी और से पढ़ लीजिए जिस तरीके से you guys might want to study. But this session is only for the AS level students. Now, for the students who will be appearing in AS level computer science, you should understand that while we have 4 papers, you're going to be only focusing upon the first 2 papers. So we have the first paper, which is paper number 1, where we will be tested upon theory, just similar the way we had it in O levels. Say theory basically would be like computer kaise chalta hai, ye sare kahaniyan. Whereas paper number 2 would be in regards to programming as in pseudocode. Kya hota hai pseudocode? Non-CS kiddos, don't worry, we're going to discuss it in great detail. But questions related to logic building, problem solving, thinking, and all that stuff. That is what you're going to be studying in our AS level tenure. So all the classes, all this entire session for 8 months, you're going to be focusing upon P1 and P2. But just for your own understanding, paper number 3 and paper number 4 are stuff you're going to study in A2, or maybe which you can also call as A levels, right? So paper number 3 is again advanced theory. It's low-key a difficult paper. Now I will be seriously honest with you. ASCS is not difficult. सही है, ASCS हो जाती है, काफी बच्चे अच्छे मार्क्स ले लेते हैं, थ्रेशोल्ड हाई नहीं होता, बहुत इजी सीन होता है। A2CS मुश्किल हो जाती है। So what we are going to be focusing up here is कि हम AS इतनी अच्छी अपनी करेंगे इंशाल्लाह, इतनी अच्छी करेंगे कि जब A2 मुश्किल आ जाए ना, तो इवन तो अगर वो मुश्किल भी हो तो कोई मसले की बात ही ना हो, you're already way above like the A level threshold, आप पहले से A स्टार से भी 10-15 मार्क्स ऊपर हो, तो आप अगर A2 में खुदा न खास्ता थोड़ा इधर उधर हो जाते हो, कोई मसले की बात नहीं, you will still have the grades on point inshallah. So the paper number 3 is about advanced theory, and paper 4 in your A2 level would be practical programming, which means you won't be solving the paper on some page. You're going to go to the exam hall, there will be a computer, questions uske upar honge, and you have to do practical coding in either Python, Java or Visual Basic. Write the code, upload that code, and that's how it's going to go, right? But don't worry, this paper 4 is easy too. Only paper 3 is difficult. So you can see that your CS syllabus is not that challenging. Ho jata hai, bahut achhe se ho jata hai. It's just there are a few qualities which I expect from every single one of you, which we're going to be discussing towards the end. And if you guys focus upon that and follow those, around, so you guys are going to ace it, inshallah. So now, to explain the AS level scenario a bit, so the students who are going to appear in AS level, you should be aware that AS level में आप सिर्फ partial components दोगे, आप paper 1 or paper 2 दोगे, सही है? You're just going to give paper 1 and paper 2. So when you give AS level papers, the maximum grades you can get are A, B, C, and so on, D, E, and U, right? But you cannot get an A star in AS level. So ये बात आपको clear होनी चाहिए that after this point onwards, we are going to be talking in regards to getting an A. तो आप ज़हन में ये ना रखना कि सर बोलेंगे यार हमारा aim कहीं एक है, हमारा aim A star का है, but in AS level you only have A. Then what happens is that you get your first year, like 2027 where you scored P1 and P2 ke marks. Then in 2028, inshallah, you're going to give P3 and P4, inshallah. And then what happens is that altogether the 4 scores are basically added up and you get some together score like 235. And then using this score, you then go through the threshold and you can see when you join in AS and A2, then you have the grade scales like A star, A and B. So if anybody asks this question, sir, आप A star क्यों नहीं बोले? तो समझ जाओ, because we are going to only be focusing upon AS level. So AS level में the max you can grade is a A grade. Moving on, now if I talk about AS level specifically, we have the 2 sections divided as the theory part and the programming part, where theory would be referred to as paper number 1, programming would be referred to as paper number 2. Both of the 2 papers are of 75 marks, which means that both of them are equally weighted when talking about your AS level grade. So it's not like I'm going to mess up one क्योंकि उसकी weightage कम है. आपने दोनों पे equally focus करना है in order to ensure कि आप grade A उठा लो. For your theory paper, you're going to have almost 8 to 12 questions similar to that O levels one. सही है, and you're going to have 1 hour 30 minutes, which is way more than the required time. If you remember, for the students in O levels, a lot of students used to ask me this question, sir ये तो time बहुत कम है, कैसे करेंगे? हो गया था ना, time बच गया था ना, revision भी हो गई थी ना. इसी तरीके से अगर नहीं हुई तो इसका मतलब है फिर मसला था, वो इंशाल्लाह ऐसे सेशन लेके आपका क्लियर हो जाएगा. बट अगर आपकी थ्योरी 1 hour 30 minutes की होगी, it's more than enough to cover up the 75 mark content. We're going to generally be studying how computers work. Now, a point here to notice that your theory paper almost is 30% of O level and IGCSE computer science. So if you are someone who has studied O level and IGCSE computer science, almost 30% of the content would be repeated. Not everything, but only 30%. इसमें होगा a few topics you might be like, okay, I know काफी अच्छे से. We won't be rushing through them. Even though you might know them pretty well, we're going to be relearning them because there is a great chance that you might have learned it for exam, but you don't know the story behind it. क्यों हो रहा है? कैसे हो रहा है? So don't worry, for the students who have not studied O-level computer science, आपके लिए तो वैसे भी basic से होगा. For the students who have studied O-level computer science, this 30% chunk should be a revision class for you and should be a class where you revise and relearn the concepts which were being taught to you earlier on, so that you don't have those problems again. Point here to again notice is that it is easy, but it's extremely conceptual. So जो बच्चों को लग रहा है ना कि सर ये तो हमसे नहीं होना, ये तो हम जरा कुक होंगे, क्या होगा? Don't worry, the whole course is going to be very easy, but it's going to be extremely conceptual, which if you understand the why and how part behind everything, it would be very much good to go, inshallah. Likewise, if we go towards the second part, you have the programming paper. Programming paper, just like theory, is going to be of 75 marks. But this time it's going to be of 2 hours, not 1.5 hours, not 1 hour 45 minutes like O levels, 2 hours. Why 2 hours? Mushkil hota. But if we study the programming from the absolute basics, from basics, I mean, we're going to first relearn what was there in O level. So the kids who were fearing 15 markers, don't worry. We're going to go from the basics. पहले हम वो 15 markers जो O level की peak है उधर तक पहुंचेंगे. Then O level की peak से we're going to go to the AS level peak, inshallah. That's the reason why this course is so long. This P2 is challenging. It's where you solve problems, you write code, you do coding, but you don't write actual programming code. You do it in pseudocode. Pseudocode is basically English style coding. For those who have not studied CS, we're going to jump into that once we do paper number 2. So we're going to go from O level to AS first, which means that we're going to go from basics to advanced. Now, the point here to note is that because we have a lot of students who have never studied computer science before, for paper number 2, I'm going to be providing you all with the O-level recordings of my premium May June 26 session beforehand, inshallah. Okay, the reason why I'm going to be providing you with the O-level recordings are कि आप एक दफा वो देख लो, उससे आपका दिमाग बहुत हद तक clear हो जाएगा. So that once we come to the live O-level class revisions, you have everything sort of settled in your mind, so that we're going to revise O level and then we're going to be jumping and doing crazy questions of AS level, so that it's not like कि जिनने CS पढ़ी हुई है आप लोग ये समझो कि सर हम क्या फिर सिर्फ O level ही पढ़ेंगे. नहीं जाए. You guys are going to study AS in great detail. O level would just be a quick revision, and for the students who have not studied computer science, आपको O level recordings provide की जाएगी of programming section, and then once you take those long set of recording, they will clarify every single thing, and you would be equal to a student at who have given O level computer science exams. And once you are at that level, we're going to go through the course quickly again and then jump into AS level. So going from basics to advanced will ensure that you cook your P2. And the funny fact is that when I gave my AS level exams, I scored more in programming than theory. Yeah, so I scored way better in programming and I had way above A grade threshold. So अगर A मेरा से 45 में था, I had like 15 marks above A grade. Okay, so I was very good with the programming section, mashallah. Okay, so don't worry, you're gonna cook it together. Now coming to the syllabus content, P1 theory, P2 programming. So in your paper number 1, we are going to be discussing 8 topics. So you can see from this point that the course has been increased. It's no longer the 6 paper number 1 topics which you have been seeing in O levels. हम पढ़ेंगे क्या? We're going to jump off with information representation कि computer data को represent कैसे करता है. How does the computer understand everything? We're going to then jump into communication. How does internet and all these networks work? Have you ever thought how do you connect one computer to another computer? Minecraft जिन्होंने खेली होगी उन पे आता होगा LAN network. What is a LAN network and all that stuff? We're going to be then jumping into hardware, seeing how does this computer work? If I have my phone with me, how does this camera work? Or for example, we see like camera to any, but like for your, how does this processor in between this work? How does this screen works and all that stuff? We're going to look into the reasoning behind those. Then we're going to be jumping into processor fundamentals. Okay, like आपके computer में तो multiple चीजें एक साथ होगी. At this point, I'm taking class. My camera is recording my face. I have a recording going on. I'm writing my notes. And I have maybe, I don't know, something else maybe open up in the background. How does my computer ensure that sub ek time pe ho raha hai? How is my processor dealing with that? That is something we're going to be studying, processor fundamentals. फिर आपके जो system कुछ चलाने के लिए software है, like the main bodybuilders जो कि end में आपके computer को बोलते हैं push करते हैं, gives them the power, gives them the ability to do boxing against viruses and all that stuff. वो क्या करते हैं? System software, the types of system softwares, how do they help? And then of course, आप लोगों में से जो majority gaming वाले kiddos यहाँ पे पायरेट बे खोल के गेम्स जो डाउनलोड करते हैं ना, पायरेटेड गेम्स या फिर जो डोडी रीपैक होती हैं और ये जो गेम्स की steamunlock.com से आप लोग गेम्स डाउनलोड करते हैं, आई नो एवरीथिंग. तो उसके खिलाफ कंप्यूटर साइंस में क्या क्या तरीकेकार है? व्हाट आर द सिक्योरिटी, प्राइवेसी, डेटा इंटीग्रिटी मेथड्स टेकन बाय कंप्यूटर साइंटिस्ट्स टू इंश्योर दैट एवरीथिंग इज सिक्योर? दैट इज व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू बी स्टडीइंग अप हियर. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स, बीइंग Pakistanis, we need to have a lot of ethics as to how we need to use computer science. So the Cambridge people were like, it's included in the syllabus. So in chapter 7, you're going to learn how do you use computer science as a good person, for the good being, for the betterment of people. And then of course, you're going to be studying databases at the end, which would be basically to see how can you connect tables together, how can you connect different sets of data. And for the people who were in O levels, you're going to know that logic gates and databases, they were basically in your paper number 2, but logic gates, my bad. So, but coming to AS level, both of logic gates and database, they will be now covered in paper number 1. Going to paper number 2, first and foremost thing would be lots of O-level P2 revision. So a quick revision from O-level paper number 2, ensuring you get everything like arrays and all those stuff clarified again. And then we're going to be jumping off with the AS level session. We are going to be first looking into algorithm design problem solving. This topic is what we are going to be also covering in O-level P2 revision. So tension nahi leni. The second part is data types and structures. So like the way we studied arrays and like the way we studied variables and constants, those things that can store values. Likewise, we're going to have newer things coming up in AS, which you're going to be studying up here. Then we have programming, which is not like the actual programming, jo aap coding shading koi nahi karoge, but you're going to learn those existing techniques of coding, which you're going to be then implementing in pseudocode. So like if you remember in O-level, there was something like file handling. अब यहाँ पे फाइल हैंडलिंग का भी हम नेक्स्ट लेवल जाएंगे. रिमेंबर द स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव बीन टेकिंग ओ लेवल सीएस फ्रॉम मी, मैंने आपको क्या बताया था कि ओ लेवल सीएस में यू जस्ट हैव सिंगल लाइन, अब यहाँ पे मल्टी लाइन हो जाएगा. डेटाबेसेस single table, अब multi tables. Similarly, questions which used to be the most difficult in O levels, वो यहाँ पे थोड़े से medium level आप समझ लो कि आएंगे, कि like वो difficulty level rise होगा, and it's definite that you're going to be struggling with paper 2. And I'm telling you this because when I got a top in Pakistan distinction, I scored the highest in Pakistan for my O-level paper number 2, mashallah. But despite that, when I came to ASP2, I struggled. But it wasn't like कि मुझसे हो नहीं रहा था. I started practicing, पहले नहीं हो रहा था. I did practice again and again, and very soon I came to a point, okay, I'm very much good to go. And I really performed well on my paper number 2 exam, mashallah. And then, of course, the last topic of this syllabus will be software development, where you're going to be basically studying the theoretical part of programming, theory of programming. Like programming के भी कुछ उसूल होते हैं, there are some rules of programming, there are some fundamental methods of programming, there are some techniques of programming, and all that stuff. We're going to study that in the software development. Okay, so all of this collectively is a very goated course, because if there is someone up here who is planning on doing CS, inshallah, or any related field in university, I can tell you that if you go with P1, P2, and then you go to, and like you also give A2 exams, inshallah, you go to your university, and the first course, which would be about the introduction to CS, you guys are going to cook it. Like literally, I came to lumps, and for the first 2 to 3 months, guess what? I never opened their manual. I was like, okay, mujhe to aata hai. And I used to go for the first time to the question, there used to be lab, which was like practice classes, right? I used to go load up, and I used to start up. So it's like this course is so well created. It's going to take your whole understanding from the theory part of computer science to how it's being applied in programming, mashallah, and you would be very much good to go with CS. And one another point. अगर किसी से A level CS नहीं हो रही, अगर किसी से A level CS नहीं हो रही, then you may understand that actual university ki computer science is going to be way more challenging than this. So if you're someone interested in doing CS, this will give you a better understanding of whether CS is for you or not. But if you give it your best, it is always going to be for you, inshallah. But this will not mark the end of P2, because P2 requires lots and lots and lots of practice. So had se zyada we're going to do practice, inshallah. Now, let's come together towards a few discussion of how we're going to basically conduct it. So the first thing is, this is a July to March session. So like one session, there will be no other session where you may expect me to come up saying, sir, December se leke maine na March tak ek naya AS ka session kar dena hai. Not at all. Not at all. We will not be doing that, inshallah. So yeah, first goal is that we are going to divide this phase into 2 sections. The first phase is going to be from July to the 15th of December. In this phase, we're going to be covering paper number 1 with lots of practice. Practice to an extent that once we are done with 15 December, for the students who will be having mock examinations in December, most probably the mock exams are going to be covering paper number 1 topics. So it would be very much good to go for your P1 exams, inshallah. Say in your school. Uske baad, what you need to understand is that this would be so much of practice that after this point, I expect you guys to start off with past papers. So you're going to take live classes for P2, and over the weekends, once or twice a week, you're going to solve an entire paper. You're going to keep on revising stuff so that you're not like sitting for the last 1 month. Yaar, maine booklet mangwani hai. Yaar, main jaunga past paper resources wale se booklet kharidunga, and main wo snap pehle bhejunga ki okay, yaar, I got these many booklets, and I'm start getting. Then you're like, sir mujhse to ho hi nahi rahe. So to prevent that, what we're going to do is we're going to take you from July to 15 December, cover everything, make you do the practice, and then jump you and start off with the papers. So you're going to start off with past papers on your own. Wherever you face problem, I'm always available. Always, always available. So आपने सिर्फ मुझे क्या करना है? WhatsApp पे text, and I would be always available to guide you with it. From the 15th December onwards till March, we're going to be jumping into paper number 2 with practice. For the students who were a part of my O-level session, you're going to remember that I taught you guys paper number 2 in 1.5 months. 1.5 months. Okay, and this does not include the past paper session. Then we had the past paper session, which was again of 1.5 months. So it was all together 3 months, right? 3 months. Together paper number 2 ke entire practice. Right now, it's like January, February, March, and 3.5 months for the course content. And then after March, inshallah, again 1.5 months for past paper. Khud dekh lo. That comes out to be as 5 months. The biggest reason why people struggle with AS level is that they feel like humne O level aakhri 2 mahino mein kar liya, which I know 70% of you guys at this point are the people jinne aakhri 2-3 mahino mein serious hoke kar liya. You guys were not studying back in July of 2025 for your O3 subjects. Okay, I know that. Agar hai perfect, but nahi, sun lo, because O level mein ho jata hai, AS mein nahi hota. A levels is a different ball game. It's not challenging. It's just that you leave it till the end and then you cover up the course and you open up the paper. You don't get the question straightforward. You have to do lots and lots of topicals. You have to do lots and lots of past paper practice to come to an extent where you can solve every question easy. And that's the reason I have seen students who have been getting A/A stars, something like 2 A stars, 6 A's, and they end up getting 3 B's. I've seen students getting 7 A stars or like 6 A star. Like one of my friend in our school, she got 6 A star, 2 A's, and she ended up getting, I don't know, 2 A, 1 B. So you see, we have very talented, smart people messing up. Why? Because when you come to A levels, you're going to go to colleges. It's no longer the same manner जहाँ पे teacher आपके पीछे भागते थे कि class bunk ना करो. A level में आपको full इजाजत होगी. This will be the time where new people are going to come to school and you guys are going to get extreme level distractions. सही है, होशियार के लिए इशारा काफी है, समझ गए होंगे. सही है, don't get distracted. You're going to be like with friends, बोलेंगे यार आओ फुटबॉल खेलते हैं. You're going to be with friends बोलेंगे यार क्या ही करना है क्लास अटेंड करके, छोड़ो यार आओ खाना खाने जाते हैं. You're going to be with people who would not take classes क्योंकि they will say कि मैं तो कर लूंगा. My friend, he had 4 A stars, 3 A's, 1 B in O levels. Pretty smart kid. Ended up almost failing his A level exams. Had to go with retakes. You know why? Because when he was in O levels, he studied in the last 2 months. Nikal diye grades. Good to go. He thought A level mein bhi yahi karunga. And guess what? I was also thinking the same. Yeah, people say A level is challenging. Ho jayega, but I had that fear element in me. Ki yaar, log bol rahe mushkil hai, kuch mushkil hoga. And I started off pretty early. And I see that the 65 of you, mashallah, right now in the class, you guys have the same thing in mind too. But let me tell you, it's something that if you don't do it right now and you leave it till the last moment, masla hoga. And you guys are going to see this with your own eyes, inshallah. कि जब आपके classmates paper खोलेंगे ना, रोएंगे कि हमसे नहीं हो रहे, and they're going to blame the teachers around them. It's not going to be the teacher, it's you should be blaming. So point here to note is that our P2 session will be then 5 months long. So you can assume that 5 months consecutive P2 practice would take you from the absolute basics to an inshallah ta'ala a full A star level preparation. Making you solve those craziest difficult questions in detail. So फिर जो level का student आप होगे ना, आपने फिर हमारे लिए लेनी है distinction. Because I don't want an A. I want every single one of you to make a promise with yourself, I'm going to get a distinction. You know, when I was back in my O1, my teacher told me that distinction beta nahi aa sakti. Sahi hai? Because she said she wasn't my CS teacher though. She was another teacher, but she was like, okay, there is this one other smart kiddo, uski nahi aayi, bahut mushkil hota hai, ye, wo. And मैंने उनको बोला था कि मैम मैं लूंगा इंशाल्लाह. साल के बाद I gave my O2 exams. I expected a distinction. I didn't get a distinction. I still have that text of my father. I was like, मैं तो उन्हें नहीं बताऊंगा कि I didn't get a distinction because I was hoping for it a lot. But apparently my father's friend daughter got a distinction. So he asked me saying, Maz, what about your distinction result? And I was like, I didn't get it, but inshallah, I'm going to give it my best. So even though that was a stage I could have said, कि नहीं आ रही, I'm not that smart. But guess what? I was like, नहीं मैं लूंगा. I'm going to get it next year inshallah. 1 year ago, I didn't have a distinction. After 1 year, I ended up with the top in Pakistan distinction, mashallah, in computer science. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, mashallah. Say mashallah, bol do sir. So that was something which isn't कि मैं कोई बहुत smart. It's like I showed the dedication. I gave it my best. I asked Allah for help, and I did get it because I had that belief in myself. So first foremost thing to Zehn में ये डाल दो कि मैं cook करूँगा. I'm going to get that distinction for myself. I'm not aiming for A's. I'm going to get those A stars in a way कि मेरे AS level के उसके ऊपर I get a distinction के they say कि best across 3 AS level subjects, best across 4. So I'm going to aim for those bigger stuff. And you have to make a promise with yourself. It's not that you get a distinction for me. It's you that you get the distinction for yourself. This distinction has helped me in multiple places, I'm telling you. So these grades, they are not for your parents, remember. These grades are not for your parents. These grades are not for your siblings. These grades are for you when you go apply to the universities and you have that perfect 4.0 GPA. These grades are for you when you go to these crazy sessions and har jagah aap accept ho rahe ho. So please be serious with your A levels. And now is the main point to see why is it such a long session. You might be saying, sir, August, September mein kyun nahi start kiya, वगैरह वगैरह. So for that, first thing is, this course is extremely detailed. It's not like your O-level. We're going to cover everything in great detail, understanding why, how, and what for every concept. सही है. आप लोगों से मैं अभी पूछूं कि binary में zeros and ones होते हैं. For the people who have studied CS, क्या आपको पता है where did this 0 and 1 come from? Like, why is it 0 and 1 only? Why not something like 0, 1, 2? Why is it only 1 or 0? Why not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? कभी सोचा? When we talk about binary, why is it 0 to 9 only? Why not? This is the how questions. This is what we're going to be studying when we say extremely detailed course. And when something is extremely detailed, it requires a lot of practice too. So first thing is that because it's extremely detailed, we're going to cover everything in great detail, and then we're going to do lots of practice to ensure that you get comfortable before those exam period. So that requires a lot of time. The second thing is that you're going to start off with A levels. So A levels, it's really important. I encourage every single one of you, go for those internships, go for those student councils, go make those projects. You're going to have the SATs coming up soon. Please go give SATs in your AS. I encourage every kid. If you're someone who's going to be applying in the US or anywhere abroad, inshallah, if SAT is required for your region, please give the SAT once during your AS. I didn't give that, made a blunder. I made that blunder. I gave the SAT in A2 while doing my university application. And uski wajah se I could not study for my A2. Like, मैं इतना busy था A2 में that I started my A2 studying in February. खुद सोच. So that was not because मैं शुरू में पढ़ नहीं रहा था, but because शुरू में you get to go with a lot of other stuff. And that's the reason why I missed ASA from 3 and 4 marks. So that's the reason why I'm encouraging every single one of you. AS में start से पढ़ोगे, तो आप student council में भी जाओगे. You're going to take those positions, go create those projects, go give the SAT, go for those community internships. And these all are really important if you want to go for universities abroad. And of course, for even the top Pakistani unis. For those who might not know, I'm a student at LUMS. So LUMS this year was low-key very crazy because US admission is now very, very challenging. Okay. It's like the policies have changed. There is very limited aid. You don't get in very easily. So now because of that, even the top Pakistani universities are very challenging to get into. So like getting into CS at LUMS, it's not gonna be easy. Keep this in your mind. Okay. So if that's not something easy, you need to do these things. If you have to do these things, it's something which is the reason why this session is long, so that we start off early. By the time you go to your colleges in mid of August or September, आप पहले से 2-3 टॉपिक्स कर चुके होगे. तो जब आपके टीचर आके पढ़ा रहे होंगे, आप उस तरह ओरा फार्मिंग कर रहे होगे. Okay, it is gonna aura farm. And we're like, okay, I'm very much good to go beforehand though. I don't even need anything to study. So you will be way better than the whole curve, inshallah. And of course, now this is something I want from you all. These are some qualities which if you bring in yourself, if you have them perfect, if you don't bring them, and this will guarantee your A star in A levels. Firstly, be more mature, which means that it's not like कि अब मैं आपको मैसेज करूंगा कि बेटा कुछ समझ नहीं आई तो बताओ, बेटा वर्कशीट टाइम पे कर, बेटा क्विज डेडलाइन इज मंडे, तो मैं आपको कोई 3 दफा मैसेज नहीं करूंगा कि मंडे है. यू आर नाउ इन A levels. almost most of you would be 17 to 18 years old, with a few being 16, right? So the majority of you are 17 at this point. I expect you all to be mature now, mature enough to do everything on your own. And just the way I mentioned earlier, please don't get distracted. You're going to see your fellow friends getting distracted. You're going to see a lot of stuff happening in A levels, a lot of things happening. Please don't get distracted. You just took Sir Suleiman's class. Sir Suleiman was my teacher back in O level. उनसे मैंने free marathons उनके attend किए थे. And you know what, Sir Suleiman, the moment I shared my O level result, I said, sir, I got 5 A stars, mashallah. So he sent me a VM saying, Maz, A level में distract na hona. And I, alhamdulillah, tried my best to not get distracted. Okay, but there were students who got distracted a lot and they suffered greatly. सही है. So एक तो ये नहीं होना, पहले से आपको बता रहा हूँ. Point number 2, ask lots of questions. जितने ज्यादा सवाल पूछ सकते हो. If it's relevant to what we studied in class, class के दौरान पूछो. If you're watching the recording, take the picture, send it to me immediately. If it's something outside the scope of syllabus, you have my WhatsApp number, just text me on my phone. मैं आपको समझाऊंगा. But the more you ask questions, the better you're going to perform. I've been doing this with my economics. जब मैं A-levels में I had 4 subjects, maths, physics, CS, econ. So when I had my economics, I studied it from Sir Adil Usman, one of the most quoted teachers out there in Pakistan. He's an A-level Cambridge examiner too. So if anybody is studying economics, do reach out to him. Low-key quoted teacher. So yeah, I used to ask him so many questions, and that greatly helped me with my answers. And then of course, I expect every one of you to take live classes. And then उसके बगैर 2 से 3 घंटे वीकेंड या वीकेंड में तो क्लासेस होंगी तो वीकडेज के ऊपर, या फिर अब आपको एक बात समझ आ जानी चाहिए कि इट्स नॉट ओ लेवल्स जहां आप स्कूल जाओगे and you're going to have consecutive classes. When you go to colleges, you're going to see that one class will be at 8 to 9, then there will be no class from 9 to 10, then there will be a class from 10 to 13, and 10 to 13 more dimag bande, like 10 to 12, and then maybe 12 to 1 koi now, 1 to 2. So you're going to have these small chunks of breaks in between. Ab in chunks of breaks mein, you could be with the distracted party playing football in all 4 of the sessions. I'm not saying football nahi khela, but you might be like, okay, I can play football from 11 to 12. And maybe jo 1 to 2 wala slot, you go to the library or you go to some empty room or you go to the corner. Like I remember during my A-levels, I used to sit in the ground of my futsal ground jo school mein hota tha, kone mein baith ke I used to take my phone with me. I used to open up the economics notes and main notes banata tha. So it's not like I'm bragging something, but it's something I have been through. So I'm trying to help you guys as an elder brother, okay, as a teacher, that you need to take out at least 2 to 3 hours for computer science per week. And where do I expect those 2 to 3 hours to be used? Worksheets, make notes on your own. And if I give you a quiz or anything, solve that. If you do these, take live classes, you will be, inshallah, very much good too. So last point before covering up the orientation class would be that ASCS is likely one of the easiest subject out there. You know why? Threshold for A is like almost 90 to 95 for 150. So भाई इसका मतलब है कि आपने हर पेपर में almost 45 out of 75 लेने. If your aim is to tell and make your parents happy by saying okay, I got an A in computer science, तो भाई 45 का मतलब है कि you have a margin of losing 30 marks in each paper. This explains कि भाई 90 out of 150 ये तो हलवा पेपर है. Like literally, if you give it your best, take these classes, follow the method at the session which we are recommending, every single one of you would be easily able to cross 40, 45. But हमने 45 का aim नहीं करना. Aim किसका है? Perfect 75. Distinction mindset. Mindset is going to be of distinction, but we are going to be staying happy because we know खुदा ना ख्वास्ते इधर हुआ मसला नहीं है. 45 तक ये है, so I have a big margin, but I'm going to give it my best. And that makes computer science one of the most loveliest subject to take in your exam. Now, this is question answer time. I was planning on teaching and introducing the first topic of computer science to you all, but chalo, because I feel like you guys will be having a lot of questions. So what I'm going to do is we do have like 10-15 minutes, but chalo, let's open up the chat box. वो हम कल उधर से बिस्मिल्लाह कर लेंगे. If you have any questions, I want every single one of you to stay back, listen to those questions first, and फिर उसके बाद you're gonna leave. I'm gonna end the class at 9-10ish, inshallah. So 10 to 13 minutes of a question answer session for your AS level or for computer science specifically. So the chat box is now open, and आपको समझ आ जाएंगी कि क्या. So Mahini is saying why only classes are weak. There are 3 classes a week. So it's not 3 classes. It's basically 3 classes conducted primarily with choti class. So we're gonna have 3 classes 1 week, and one we're gonna have 4 classes. The reason why we are conducting 4 classes per week is that I don't want you to be pressurized. Why? क्योंकि लंबा सेशन है. 4 classes का मतलब है you're going to learn new stuff. Then उसके बाद TA एक class लेगा, so you're going to have 4 to 5 classes per week. It's not 3, okay? It's 4 to 5 classes per week, and every week we're going to give you worksheets. And the way I mentioned कि maturity वाली बात, in your A levels you have to take out a large amount of time for physics. You have to take a large amount of time for maths. So अगर मैं 5 दिन classes लूं and एक 6 day को मैं TA class ले, तो 6 classes में you guys are going to get burned out. Burning out is the biggest problem in A level. आपने burn out नहीं होना. You're going to take it slow, step by step. So if I take 5 classes per week, आप लोग थक जाओगे. आप बोलोगे कि सर ये तो CSE में पढ़ो, मैं तो थक गया हूँ. I don't want to study it. So to prevent that, we're going to go slow, step by step. And because this is the May June 27 session, I'm going to assure you that inshallah you would be done with everything in great detail. Say, when do you get distinction with the result? No, you get the distinction 3 months after the result. Sir, will CS, maths and physics going to be difficult? When, to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you. When I started my A levels, CS and maths were perfectly fine for me. Like maths में तो कोई मसला नहीं था. O level maths ही लग रही थी, थोड़ी सी difficult. Physics शुरू में थोड़ा आपको तंग करेगी, और उसके बाद आपको पता लग जाएगा. So on which day will TA take class? So TA is most probably going to take the class on Tuesday 9 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m. वो हम देख लेंगे. So, sir, while preparing P1 and P2, should I also worry and study A2? नहीं. A2 का syllabus content is totally different from AS. सही है, तो A2 तो हाथ भी नहीं लगानी, वो तो बाद की बात है, कहानी next year इंशाल्लाह. अभी आप सिर्फ AS के concept, whatever is relevant, we're going to teach you. We're going to prepare you for that. A2, not at all. Okay, ignore A2 stuff. You prefer composite or AS A2? I prefer AS A2. सही है. Taking demo as यूसुफ अभी तो क्लास स्टार्ट ही नहीं हुई, ये तो आपको सिर्फ मैं ओवरऑल रिव्यू दे रहा था. Just wait for tomorrow's class and you're going to understand that it's not that difficult. It's low-key one of the easiest subject you can take. If you just saw the subject outline, तो आपको पता लग जाएगा कि वो कोई भी मुश्किल नहीं है. Once you start off with the basic fundamentals, आप खुद बोलोगे कि सर ये तो हलवा चीजें हैं. Okay, so don't worry. Take the demo classes and you're gonna get to the idea. Still, if you need more support, just text me. I can share some O-level recordings. आप वो भी देख लेना, and उससे आपको अच्छा idea हो जाएगा if A-level CS is for you or not. Sir, might sound weird, but can you please? Of course. What if one gets lost in the detailed notes? Yeah, good question, but like, you won't get lost. Okay, so I'm just going to be writing the points which are relevant to you. You don't have to get lost. Apne points padne, you have to write it down, you have to memorize, you have to learn them, you have to practice them, and you'll be good to go. सही है. So it's not like कि मैं आपको कोई book नहीं पकड़ाऊंगा कि ये book याद कर लो. सही है. So how much time a day should we be giving to each subject a day outside of college/tuition? So even if you give like 45 minutes every day to the number of subjects, or like maximum 1, you would be very much good. So is it going to be tough for me as I'm doing maths, business, English, IGCSE October, and also prepping for now? हो जाता है. But just take live classes and ज़्यादा फिर ऐसा ना हो कि आप बहुत late हो जाओ. So keep on studying AS level थोड़ा, but do study O levels वाले content subjects ज़्यादा. And then afterwards, the moment you're done with exams, no break at all. Low-key directly jumping into AS grind ताकि आप फिर से जल्दी class तक आ जाए. Would you recommend doing A levels from institute like Homebridge and are also good grades enough only for uni admission and how to maintain? Lamba question, Ali bhai. Private depends upon the person. For someone like me, I would always recommend a college. Say, but person to person vary करता है. And no, grades are not only enough for university. Grades plus having good profile, good भी नहीं at this point. If you're aiming for full rights, तो crazy profile is mandatory. And extracurriculars किस तरीके से हो सकती हैं, तो वो आप you can text me afterwards. I can send a VM. उसमें मैंने काफी details से बताया था, तो आप उसके साथ चल जाना and you'll be good to go inshallah. Can suggest good colleges in Islamabad. So in Islamabad, you can go with BMI, you can go with LGS, you can go with Head Start, you can also go with Supernova bhi sahi hai. You can also go with these other schools. But again, it doesn't matter on me. What I would recommend is that if you haven't chosen a college, do one thing. Go to the school, view the campus, meet the counselor, meet the teachers. And then uske baad what you should do is try to get in touch with some A2 level ka bachcha. A2 ka bachcha. Ask that A2 kid, okay, will you recommend your school AS level to me or not for this subject? And go with the school जहाँ पे वो आपको recommend करे. क्योंकि there are colleges, but again जो आपने opinion मांगने ये भी like बच्चों से मांगने हैं, okay? So like if I have to just give you an example, some colleges in Islamabad like BMI, when I got a distinction, BMI की पता नहीं कोई 20 से ज़्यादा distinctions थी. But at the same time, BMI also has one of the largest chunk of students who don't get good grades too. So it's like you get good and bad people everywhere. So always try to be with the good people. So I'm taking physics, computer, maths, and aiming for a major in computer department. Should I also? Well, if you can take further maths, just take further maths because you love maths, and yes, 100% is going to help you. It's no doubt going to help you a lot, no doubt. But again, take further maths only if you love maths, okay? Because further maths is no easy. Further maths आप इस तरह समझ लो कि maths और physics को combine कर लो ना और इतने difficulty वाली scene है तो हो जाएगा. How do you even manage 5 से मुझे तो यहाँ से डर लग रहा है 5 ना लो ना फिर 3 ले लो. I had 4 subjects, 4 pretty much हो जाते, 3 तो आराम से हो जाते, 3 तो हो ही जाते हैं. जो लोग आपको बोले ना कि 3 subjects नहीं हो रहे, ये आप ड्रामे कर रहे हो. सीधी सी बात है, 3 सब्जेक्ट इतना आसान है करने की आपकी सोच है. जिन बच्चों के 3 सब्जेक्ट्स में ग्रेड्स नहीं आते वो इसलिए नहीं आते क्योंकि वो पढ़ते नहीं है. वरना 4 सब्जेक्ट्स मेरे थे, आई नो के 4 सब्जेक्ट्स हो जाते, 5 इज डिफिकल्ट, 4 हो जाते एंड 3 इज इजी. Serious. Will you guide with extracurricular activities? I'm going to give you small sort of hints. It's not like going to be class ka party, but if you need help, you can always reach out afterwards too. I guide students with that. But of course, क्लास के दौरान भी कभी कभार इस तरह कोई क्वेश्चन हुआ तो I always love answering questions regarding university applications. So yes, so don't worry. So I see other being too goated at something and I sometimes find myself lacking and losing confidence. Don't compare yourself to others, boys. So I have been a part of my class, right? I know you are one of those crazy students that if I have to keep in mind कि यार मेरे May June 26 के session में कौन बच्चे थे, तो maybe Moez might be among those first few names that come into my mind. Why? I had so many students, but you were there coming into my mind so fast. You had something in yourself. So definitely you're going to see there will be some people who are going to have new things. You're going to see students having other. So इस तरीके से कुछ बच्चों के confidence ज़्यादा होता है, कुछ बच्चों के अंदर gaming की skills अच्छी होती है. So where you lack, try to overcome that. You cannot do public speaking, go for MUNs. You cannot talk to people, go interact with people. करते जाओ, face your questions, face your difficulties, face your problems, and you're going to see you're going to greatly improve, inshallah. Again, colleges ka same question. Faisalabad, I do have a lot of friends from BCP Faisalabad. I guess wahi acha hoga. Sahi hai. When to do all the internships at Regsiterations over the span of A2 and A1, dono ke andar. It's like equally divided. Sir, economics rakh lo, sir. I'm that guy jo aapko Ronaldo and Messi wali reels. यार मेरे फीड में ना at this time there are 2 to 3 such kids जो मुझे मार रहे हैं. बट आप जितना भी ट्राई कर लो ना, आप मुझसे ये नहीं करवा सकते कि मैं बोलूं कि CR7 might be better. It's like Messi is no doubt a better player. सही है, easy. Will you be teaching A2? No idea. Should we learn Python, Java, CS? No, not required for the course. But if you want. So the headphones got connected. Sorry for that. So you should, if you have free time, you want an edge, आप थोड़े से अपने problem solving skills build करना चाहते हैं, go take a Python course क्योंकि that's similar to your pseudocode, but it's not like कि आपको कोई AS में कहीं Python use नहीं होगी. But if you have to learn Python कर लो, A2 में use होगी इंशाल्लाह. How's further math for you when you're good at math but practice minimum like barely? Practice करनी होगी राबिया. Further math stands nowhere near your A-level maths. So like if A-level maths is a difficulty of like maybe 4 or 5, further maths is like 10 on 10. Can I take business with CS? Of course you can. Sir, it will be Python or pseudocode. Pseudocode would be in paper number 2, pseudocode. Sir, O-level pseudocode again revise होगा या you will provide? दोनों होंगे. After AS course A2 होगा ना, if we are giving, we will be able to take course, right? AS and A2 course. So अभी तो ये May June 27 तक तो AS का ही course है ना, इसमें हम A2 नहीं पढ़ेंगे. A2 आप लोग इंशाल्लाह AS मतलब A2 you guys are going to study in July 2027 इंशाल्लाह. तो तब देखा जाएगा. If I'm offering A2, you guys can join us, or maybe if some other teacher is offering A2, आप उनके साथ जा सकती है जैसे भी. सही है, तो don't worry. Sir, O2 CS तो जंग में हुआ. In Gulf, don't know if I could survive A-level CS. You're gonna easily survive A-level CS. The biggest problem with students is कि उनको डर लगता है कि we haven't studied programming before, we don't have good programming skills. For that, I told you I'm going to give you guys programming videos beforehand to ensure that you go to that level so that you understand everything perfectly fine. तो जब आप उस level पे पहुंच जाओगे तो you don't have to worry. We're going to make you do so much practice. We won't leave you alone, okay? We're going to be alongside you. So we're going to learn alongside you, ensuring that you go to that A-star level together, inshallah. Why don't we do programming and theory together? Not recommended, not at all. Programming masla is programming. You need to keep on doing programming regularly. सही है. So O level के जो बच्चे थे जो 15 markers काफी अच्छे कर रहे थे, if I give them a 15 marker right now, they're going to struggle. सीधी बात है. So you forget stuff. Programming में ये सीन है कि I want to keep programming interconnected. It cannot be like 1 week theory, 1 week programming. वो जो आप पढ़ोगे वो फिर भूल जाएगा, तो फिर मैं उसी को रिवाइज कराते रहूंगा. जब एक गो में P2 स्टार्ट होगी तो you're gonna able to connect the concepts together. So वो जब उसके बाद प्रैक्टिस होगी, you would be very much good to go. सही है. When to give SATs? I recommend giving the SAT in December of AS. अगर आप अगस्त में नहीं दे रहे, अगर अगस्त में दे रहे हो that was best. अगर आप नहीं दे रहे तो give it in December. So since we will start P2 in Jan, can we leave it fully till then? हाँ, अभी तो आपने कोई पेपर नंबर 2 को हाथ नहीं लगाना. अभी हमने सिर्फ पेपर नंबर 1 पे फोकस करना है. Okay, we're going to focus on paper number 1 only. P2 बात की कहानी है. So why don't you start with paper 2 first? The reason I'm not starting with paper 2 first is that we're going to wrap up paper 2 by January, and फिर उसके बाद January onwards आप paper 1 पे फोकस करोगे, and फिर एग्जाम टाइम में आपसे paper 2 सॉल्व नहीं होंगे, and फिर आप रोने लग जाओगे, और आप बोलोगे कि सर अब मैं क्या करूं. तो उसके लिए मैं चाहता हूं, क्योंकि पेपर नंबर 1 इज इजी. पेपर नंबर 1 अगर आप एंड टाइम में 1 महीने में रिवीजन भी कर लेते, प्रैक्टिस कर लेते, हो जाते. पेपर 1 इज लाइक O level. पेपर 2 नहीं होता. Paper 2 is where students lose all the marks. So I need to ensure that I take you guys through your hand, fingers say, till your exam hall, ensuring you guys are fully prepared with P2. That's why I keep P2 towards the end, Amisha. Sir, physics, maths and CS के साथ business रखूं या econ? I had the same subjects and I went with economics. I will also recommend economics, but economics is मुश्किल. ये भी ज़हन में रखना. Economics is very difficult, and if you haven't studied O level economics, A level में बहुत बुली करेगा. ये ज़हन में रखना. For me, economics A level was difficult than physics A level. बाकी खुद सोच. So should I take CS with biochem, physics? CS with biochem. I don't want to take maths, to be honest. This depends, Alpha Saab, on what you might want to do in university. So उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करते हैं कि क्या हिसाब है. You can reach out to me afterwards on my number. I can see, inshallah, free time में बता दूंगा. Where do I live? I live in Aptabad. That's where I live. Like my family is there, but I usually, when it's university, I'm in Lahore. So Lahore का हिसाब सही है. So I'm not from Islamabad, but yes, I do have a lot of friends from Islamabad, so I'm pretty well aware of the colleges वगैरह. So what's the major difference between the free courses of 9618 on YouTube and this course? RM, I would recommend taking the demo classes, and then I would ask you to go and take those free classes, and then you're going to get to know what's the difference. You don't get practice, you don't get detailed explanation. Even if you do get those detailed explanation on YouTube, the biggest chunk is you don't get live support from a teacher. So if I'm studying from YouTube, there is something I don't get, I'm blank. I don't have anything in mind. Here you have my number. Here you're getting weekly practice sessions. Here you're getting quizzes which will provide you with guidance on where to improve, where you're lacking, all those things. वो सब कुछ, that is going to make a difference. You might not feel it at this point, but once you go to the end, you're going to see a student taking our session is going to be way more confident. I remember students who were from my session taking those past paper classes. They were way more confident in solving the 15 markers than students who had not taken our courses. And जब वो हमारे end में marathons ले रहे थे, they were very scared. My students were mashallah and ta'ala, mashallah, alhamdulillah, mashallah, way more confident, mashallah, बोल दो. Sir, most unis need Chem for engineering, but my students in universities में मसला नहीं है. If you're in Pakistan, even if you go with computer science, you're fully required, good to go for even engineering programs. So if you're going for engineering, you can go with maths, physics, chemistry, or even if you go with maths, physics, CS, you're fully good to go. So is vegan house a good option? It's a very good option. Depends upon baki kya surrounding mein, but yes, it is. So you did A levels in Islamabad? No, I did not. So how much harder would you say ASC is than O level CS? So आपकी जो theory है, that's pretty much identical. वो मुश्किल नहीं है. जो आपकी A paper number 2 programming है, that is simple अल्फाज में I always say कि जो आपका O level का 15 मार्कर है ना, expect कि आपके पेपर में 15 मार्कर जैसे 3 सवाल आएंगे. खुद सोच लो, थोड़ी जम तो होगी. How much is benchmark a good option? I do have friends from benchmark. वो तो अच्छा ही कहते, but I'm not fully sure. And if I was in Islamabad, again, I'm going to consult my seniors before making a decision. Which uni in Germany did I get? I got it from Constructor. So should you jump on every extracurricular that is presented or selected? Go with the extracurriculars that align with the major you're going to be doing in school, in university. So if you're computer science people, computer science होते हुए maybe going into the community club, okay, community maybe going into reading club won't give you a benefit. Go to the STEM club, go take positions in STEM, go conduct Olympiads, go make Python projects, go learn coding, go make projects. So whatever you're going to do in university, उसके related extracurriculars करो. Sir, आज economics and AS if not studying थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, मुश्किल है. So will we have practicals in A levels for CS in A2, not in AS? A2 में होगा, where it's not like practical कि आपने कोई computer को खोलना नहीं होता, but it's like you have to basically do coding on computer. So please help me choose CS maths and economics or CS maths and physics. CS maths and physics. CS maths and economics would prevent you from going into CS related majors. So आप CS नहीं कर सकोगे in universities like LUMS, even in आप सिर्फ फास्ट में एलिजिबल होगे. इवन फॉर नस्ट आपको एनईटी देना होगा, उसमें फिजिक्स होता है. सो यू शुड गो विद मैथ्स फिजिक्स सीएस. सो फॉर व्हिच प्रोग्रामिंग शुड वी गो इन A2? Python. So I have no idea how to decide my career, but I know it has to do something with CS. What should I do? Take maths physics CS. CS7 the god, hell no. ना आपको नहीं पता, आपको नहीं पता. सारी गेम जो है ना वो मेसी की है. मेसी लेवल है, सही है. मेसी के साथ मुकाबला नहीं है. सर मैं फिजिक्स मैथ्स सीएस के साथ रख लो ऐसे नाम का कोड, फिर मैं आपको वीडियोस दिखाता हूँ. अच्छा, फीफा प्रिंसेस जो आपका रोनाल्डो ब्लूटूथ बॉय है, जो आपको यार, आई हैड अ रील समवेयर. आई ऑलवेज हैव दिस इंटरेक्शन विद माय किडोस. पता नहीं मैंने किसको भेजी थी. Let me see on my Instagram. I had it saved somewhere because I was there are these two O level की क्लास में भी इस तरह के बच्चे जिनको मुझे भेज. Christina on the run. Keep them playing. Diving one up 4 goals. Exactly why he's the GOAT. Marshmallow passes to Ronaldo. What happened? Not touch it, and he's gonna be like, okay, goal. Not at all. So will any content regarding AS available on YouTube as well? AS के we're gonna be uploading just the topicals. जो course content होंगे that will not be available. सही है. So it might be like कि जो थोड़ा important topic कुछ इस तरह की हो जहाँ student को help हो, सिर्फ उसमें शायद हम थोड़ा सा करें, but it's not like कि आपका syllabus या पूरा course content will never be uploaded. That's only going to be for the students who register with us. So the TA classes, these practice sessions, a lot of these crazy classes, they won't be fully available. So if I want admission in LUMS or NEST or this is to go with CS Maths and Physics in AA, which is recommended. Sahab Tukir, you can reach out to me. I've uploaded a reel on this. आप लोग वो देखो, go to my Instagram page. वहाँ पे मैंने काफी details से बताया हुआ है, तो आप वो check कर लो, आपको समझ आ जाएगी. Sir, what do you say about doing A-levels from other boards? I mean, it's the syllabus content is difficult. You won't have difficulty in terms of changing from Cambridge. The only difficulty is that you don't have good teachers for the other boards. So फिर आपको बहुत मुश्किल होगा because you will not understand कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. सही है. Sir, SAT versus O-level extra subjects in October. But to be honest, the way जो competition चल रहा है, it is कि आप दोनों करो तो बेहतर है. सही है. Sir, पक्की बात, 100% पक्की बात. Sir, physics, math, CS is good combo. बिल्कुल perfect combo. Sir, can we only take your course and be good to go for CS? Inshallah, you will be good to go for CS. Good to go. You will be very much good to go, inshallah. So where can I study AS maths from? Any recommendation? You have the GOATs, you have Zenomatics, you have Math Lead, you have Math Prep with Ahmed Bilal. पूरे syllabus available है. उन्हीं से पढ़ो, no need. You would be very much good to go. सही है. काफ साहब आपके सवाल आंसर हो गए. Sir, I asked LUMS, they said chemistry is mandatory for engineering program. नहीं mandatory. I can share it with you from LUMS की website. Just a second. आपको engineering के लिए जो है ना, मेरे पास मेरे साथ students are like, I didn't have chemistry in my A levels. I was fully eligible for engineering at LUMS. I am a student at LUMS. सही है. वो usually बच्चों को समझ नहीं आती, तो मैं आपको बता भी देता हूँ. ये देख लो, यहाँ पे कहीं पे था. uh, for chemical and I can have a look at this later on. फिर मैं आपको confirm बता दूंगा, but मैं फिर आपको बता दूंगा. Okay, Rayan, Tayyab, you can just text me. मैं आपको बाद में बता दूंगा. But it's not like कि क्योंकि I did not have chemistry. Okay, I did not have chemistry, and I was fully eligible to apply for the engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering program. So I don't think so that should be a problem at all. सही है. Sir, anything from what type of programming should do to build chat GPT se पूछो, chat GPT se. Okay. Sir, how do I find clubs, internship, and Rexo for uni application? I put it, you ever find. Go do one thing, open up YouTube and search for university applications की profiles. आपको पता लग जाएगा कि लोग खुद ही चीजें बनाते हैं. They don't look for stuff. कि वो खुद ही बनाते रहते हैं. सही है. Can I give math, physics, and chem in A levels and get admission in CS? Math, physics, and chem. Maths, physics, and chem will make you eligible for LUMS, but you won't be eligible at NAS. NAS भी हो जाएगा. हाँ, you can go with this too. You can go. You can definitely do this. But अली अगर आप यूनी में CS लेना चाह रहे हैं और आप A लेवल में CS नहीं ले रहे तो फिर आप for someone trying to take CS, PSM, there is a choice between statistics. Go with statistics. Yes, कल से course content start. Maheen, I have to decide. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do A2 or not. But again, now what I'm going to give you a list of the top teachers who I would recommend you all to go with. सही है. Cambridge को इस साल हमने काफी अच्छी वो कर दी है, सुथराई हो गई है, तो I'm pretty hopeful Cambridge will not be leaking any more papers inshallah. Could you repeat who are the teachers for AS Maths? Yeah, Zenematics, Math Lead by Saad, Math Prep by Ahmed Bilal. Same. Only physics. Say you take 15 minutes, the test might be exempted. Shayan, किस चीज के बारे में आप बात कर रहे हो? But yeah, that's it. So all the questions have been addressed. Perfect. 10 minute बाद मेरी अभी O level की class start होने वाली है इंशाल्लाह. So I have to go jump towards that, make a quick break. थोड़ा पानी शानी पी लूं. But that is it for today. I hope 9 CS7 is not better. ये मैं कभी नहीं बोलूंगा आपको, सही है. But yeah, I am hopeful that O level for the next session, O level May June 2027, yeah, and October, सही है. So I am hopeful, inshallah, that it was a good session and you got a good introduction into the world of AS level computer science. For any questions in regards to anything, you have my number. Just text me. I would be more than willing to help you with it. Take care, everybody. See you guys inshallah tomorrow. Sir, if I want admission in LUMS or NUST or any other, is it necessary to? Sahab, I've uploaded a reel on this on my YouTube, on my Instagram page. Go to Code Catalyst. मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ. Go to Code Catalyst and यहाँ पे ये थोड़ा सा नीचे आप जाओगे. There is this reel I uploaded. किधर गई? थोड़ा सा ये 2 weeks पहले. इसमें मेरी ये टोपी भी है. सही है? This टोपी. ये टोपी वाली. इसके अंदर I fully explained कि what subjects to take, क्या सीन होगा, आपको फुल समझ आ जाएगी. नहीं समझ आती, text me on WhatsApp, कर लेंगे इंशाल्लाह. Inshallah, Cheetah, inshallah. Okay, everybody, see you guys inshallah tomorrow, 8 p.m. Take care, everybody. The recording would be available. Allah Hafiz, and of course, share the recording and also the link with your friends.